Hi guys, so I'm going to tell you how to make an art journal out of a composition notebook. So you're going to take paper, protect your pages by folding them inside and covering everything. That way things can't get sticky. You can use some gesso to cover the front. I happen to have some gesso in that tiny little container there. Gesso gives it a nice rough surface. I'm adding a little bit more to that container. Gesso gives the surface a nice rough surface so that other things can stick to it. You can paint on it. I made mine kind of thick, and you're going to want to make sure you do both sides. Now, of course, I'm drying mine so I can flip it over, but if you work on one side at a time, it's fine. Like waiting patiently for it to dry. So an extra thing on the back. I'm actually saving the back side to do in class in person. So I'm going to use some collage material. I have tissue paper, regular school glue, and I put that on there, but then I use some water to actually thin out the school glue. That makes it less lumpy. So with a paintbrush, when I put down the tissue paper, I put the watered down school glue right on top of it as well. So I have tissue paper, scrapbook paper, decorative napkins, you'll see. And basically the important thing is you want to put the glue down first, then put down your paper, then put another layer of glue up on top. Sped this up, I don't really move that fast. But the purpose is to get it to stick in one place, but then also to smooth it down on the top with the extra glue so that everything becomes kind of like very, very seamless. We don't want any like edges sticking up, because you want a nice smooth surface to work on. And of course I'm drying it with my hairdryer. That's actually a photocopy of some other art that I did, so it's really cool. You can take your own art, make photocopies, and then use them. Use them in different ways than you normally would. So I'm taking some of my own art and using it as collage material. Now the original painting is safely done on canvas, so no worries about that. Now let's see. Okay, after I dry it, I'm going to put on an extra layer of Mod Podge, which is a little bit of a higher quality glue. And that one actually dries to a hard kind of surface. Mod Podge comes in a bunch of different formulas. It's really, really good. It's not cheap, but it's good. If you enjoy doing this kind of thing, it's a worthwhile investment. So you see I use a hairdryer, and I also use that little pink thing. That's a heat gun. So it's a little bit more dangerous to use, but it works. Now what I'm doing here is putting a little bit more gesso on top because I'm about to add some paint. Dry it with my heat gun. And here we go with the watercolors. Watercolor is a really good paint to have. It's easy, compact. You don't have to worry about squeezing out stuff and wasting it. I love watercolor. Now I go from using the heat gun to the hairdryer because I actually like for my watercolor to smear around a little bit. I found an edge that was not glued down, that's why I glued it down. And here comes some stencils. Now what I'm using here is like a little ink pad kind of like thing that has a handle. I don't know exactly what they call it, but I can smear the ink instead of using a stamp. Now here I am going to use a stamp onto my art journal, with the stencil when I was doing that. So stamping and stencils and all kinds of fun. And I think I'm about to put on a little bit more Mod Podge, just to make sure everything is sealed and nice and clean. I mean, clean in the way that everything is like uniform. And I'm just touching it up with a little bit more Mod Podge. Put in some stickers, a little bit more collage work, pretty stuff. And I was actually writing my name with the stencil. And I put in, you can't see it, but I put in art journaling with tiny little letter stamps. And then I closed it up. And for some reason I'm going to hold it upside down. I don't know why, but that's just what I did. But that's how I decorated the cover of my art journal. And in class, I'll decorate the backside, and I'll show you guys how it's done.